My name is Ethan Hayes. I'm 25, a pretty run-of-the-mill graphic designer, the kind of guy whose life rarely strays from routine. No drama, no headlines, just me and my laptop designing logos and posters. At least, that's how it used to be. Because right now, I'm on an Amtrak train headed south to Portland, and this trip, it was supposed to be simple. A 3-hour ride, a couple of days on company per diem, maybe even a little time to myself. Easy, right? Except life doesn't care about easy. And mine was about to get completely derailed, right here on this train. It started the moment I found my seat. I stashed my carry-on, settled in, and reached for my phone, ready to zone out with TikTok for a while. That's when someone slid into the seat beside me. Instinctively, I glanced up. And that one glance nearly knocked the breath out of me. She couldn't have been more than 18, 19 tops. Hair tied in pigtails. Eyes. Huge, luminous, like they belonged in a manga panel. Skin so pale, it almost seemed to glow under the train lights. But what truly froze me was her figure, something I thought only existed in fiction. Like someone had lifted a character out of a novel and dropped her right there next to me. I'll admit, I looked a little too long. Just a second. Purely instinctive, purely aesthetic. But she noticed. And her glare had hit me like a slap, without the contact. Instantly, I ducked my head, fumbling for my phone, praying she wouldn't think the worst. Great, Ethan. Now she thinks you're a creep. When the train pulled out of the station, I angled my body toward the window, keeping as much distance as possible. Eyes forward. No more risks. The air between us grew sharp, tense, suffocating. Eventually, my eyelids grew heavy, and I thought maybe I could just nap, ride this out in silence. That's when it happened. A thump on my leg pulled me back to consciousness. I looked down. Her phone. Okay, Ethan, I told myself. Be the good guy. Just return it, nice and simple. I picked it up and tapped her gently on the shoulder. Excuse me, your foe. Her scream split the air. Pervert. The sound shattered the quiet car like glass. Heads whipped around. Before I could even breathe, she shot to her feet, fists flying, small, pink, but furious, landing on my arms, my chest, my face. Help. He's touching me. He tried to steal my phone. My blood ran cold. I threw up my hands, begging for someone, anyone, to listen. Wait, it's a misunderstanding. But no one wanted to hear me. Passengers muttered darkly. A couple of gym-built guys were already on their feet, ready to drag me out. The conductor rushed over, trying to corral the chaos. What's going on here? She pointed straight at me, eyes welling with tears, her voice trembling like she was the victim of the century. He touched me, and he tried to steal my phone. I almost exploded. Your phone fell on my leg. I was just giving it back. But the words sounded hollow against the force of her tears. Then, smack. Her hand connected with my cheek, so hard the crack echoed through the car. My skin burned. My pride burned worse. Never in my life had I been so wrongfully accused. The conductor's expression hardened. Both of you, come with me. So there I was, paraded out of the car like a criminal, while strangers' eyes stabbed me in the back. Somewhere behind me, I heard someone whisper, "He looks like such a normal guy too." I wanted to sink through the floor. We were taken to a small staff compartment. The head conductor asked us to explain. I laid everything out exactly as it happened. She, meanwhile, spun her own version, claiming I'd been leering, touching, scheming to snatch her phone. I was desperate. My voice cracked as I pleaded for someone to believe me. And then the conductor asked a question that cut the air clean open. "Miss, you said he stole your phone. Who has it now?" Her bravado faltered. She froze, reached into her pocket, and pulled it out. "It sits with me." The conductor's eyebrow arched. If he really meant to steal it, why would he wake you up just to give it back? She blinked, fumbled for an answer. But nothing came out. Relief surged through me. "See? I told you it was a misunderstanding." The conductor nodded slowly. "I don't believe this gentleman meant any harm. But you did say he was staring at you. Is that true?" My face heated. I rubbed the back of my neck, fumbling for words. Well, beauty is meant to be appreciated, right? but I swear I didn't mean anything by it. For a long beat, silence. Then, finally, the conductor let us go. Back to our seats we trudged, wrapped in an awkward silence, so thick you could slice it with a knife. She stared out the window. I buried myself in my phone like it was my lifeline. Minutes ticked by before I finally broke. Hey, about earlier. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. She turned, eyes sharp as ever. So you admit you were staring? I winced, scratching my head. Okay, yeah, maybe I looked a little longer than I should have. But I promise, it wasn't malicious. It's like seeing a beautiful flower. Who wouldn't look twice? Her lips twitched. A snort slipped out before she caught herself. You've got a smooth way with words, you know that? I smiled faintly, sensing the walls cracking. I'm Ethan Hayes, heading to Portland for business. She hesitated, then murmured, Chloe Miller. Going home. Chloe Miller, I repeated. That's a beautiful name. For the first time, she actually looked at me without daggers in her eyes. About that slap. I'm sorry. I've just had to deal with a lot of creeps lately. I guess I'm on edge. I rubbed my still-burning cheek with a crooked grin. No worries. You've got quite a swing, though. You train or something? Her chin lifted with pride. Of course. I'm a Taekwondo black belt. A chill ran down my spine. And just like that, I realized this business trip was going to be anything but ordinary. Thank God I didn't fight back. If I had, Chloe probably would have laid me out flat in the aisle, and I'd still be nursing broken ribs instead of just a burning cheek. But with the storm behind us, something unexpected happened. We actually started talking. And to my surprise, we had more in common than I ever would have guessed. Her name was Chloe Miller. She was 20, a student at Portland State. She only looked younger, and that, she explained, was the curse of her life. Always misunderstood. Always attracting the wrong kind of attention. Suddenly, her hair-trigger temper made sense. So, should I feel honored? I teased. You're the first person who's ever hit me and then made me apologize for it. Her eyes rolled so hard I thought they might never come back down. Please. You deserved it. That's what you get for staring. And just like that, the tension cracked. 3 hours flew by like 30 minutes. By the time the train screeched into Portland, I was caught somewhere between nerves and hope. I swallowed hard, working up the courage. So, since we've cleared the air a little, I said, maybe I could, get your number? While I'm in town, I'd like to buy you dinner. A proper apology. She narrowed her eyes, suspicious. Isn't that the oldest line in the book? I raised my hand, 3 fingers up. Scout's honor. Pure apology. No hidden motives. She studied me for a long moment, lips twitching like she was fighting a smile. Then finally, she broke. All right, since you're being so sincere about it. We exchanged numbers just as the train shuddered to a stop. I helped her with her luggage, and as we stepped onto the platform, the sun spilled down over us, warm, bright, and almost perfectly timed. A brutal beginning, but maybe, just maybe, a decent ending. My cheeks still throbbed from her slap, but somehow it felt worth it. The next day was all business. Portland was hotter than I'd expected, and my senior colleague Mark dragged me through back-to-back client meetings until my brain was fried. By the time I stumbled into the hotel room, I collapsed on the bed and started scrolling. And, of course, I ended up on Chloe's Instagram. Her feed was alive with campus life, sketchbooks, coffee shops, the occasional selfie. Every picture flooded with likes and comments. She wasn't just a student. She was magnetic. Popular in a way I could never be. My thumb hovered over the message button, frozen. What would I even say? That's when my phone buzzed. A message. From her. Hey, Mr. Creep. I didn't know whether to laugh or groan. I typed back, come on. Are we ever going to get past that? Person facepalming. Her reply was instant. Never. Winking face with dung, so how's Portland treating you? I grinned. Hot enough to melt steel. You Oregonians are built different. You eaten yet? She asked. Not yet. Just got back to the hotel. She sent a little thinking emoji. Then, so, about that dinner you owe me. When are you planning on paying up? I bolted upright in bed. This was it. My shot. Anytime. You name it. We set plans for the following evening. Near campus, her pick. After I hung up, I did an embarrassing little victory roll across the mattress, then stopped, staring at the ceiling. What is wrong with me? It's just dinner. With a girl. Why am I acting like a teenager? The next day dragged like molasses. I was useless at work, checking the time every 10 minutes until Mark finally elbowed me. Hot date, Ethan? My face burned. No, just meeting a friend. But when 5 o'clock hit, I was out the door like a rocket. Back to the hotel, quick change of clothes, even a dash of cologne. By the time I got to the restaurant, my heart was thudding. And there she was. Chloe, in a light blue sundress, her pigtails gone, replaced by soft waves of hair that tumbled over her shoulders. She looked older, more poised. Still beautiful, but in a completely different way. Sorry, have you been waiting long? I asked, nerves tightening my throat. She shook her head. Just got here.
And wow.
You clean up nice. I sighed. Compliment or insult? She smirked, and just like that, the evening began. Over dinner, the conversation flowed. She was an art major, obsessed with sketching and photography. Me, a graphic designer. For the first time, I felt like the dots of my life actually connected with someone else's. So, that day, I asked, "You were coming back from a sketching trip?" She nodded. Mount Hood. I was working on a series of charcoal sketches. Completely drained by the time I got on the train. Halfway through the meal, she suddenly dug into her bag and pulled out a little notebook. Oh, check this out. I flipped it open. My jaw dropped. She'd drawn a comic strip of our train encounter, and in her version, I looked like a swollen, bruised mess. Hey, I'm not that ugly, I protested. She burst into laughter, clutching her stomach. It's called artistic license.
See?
I made myself look like a superhero. I rolled my eyes. Oh, of course. You're the hero. I'm the cartoon punching bag. Our laughter faded into a quieter moment. I leaned forward, voice softer. Seriously, though? I get it. You have to be careful when you're out there on your own. Her smile dimmed. She sighed, gaze drifting. Honestly, I'm not usually that aggressive. It's just, I had a stalker once. Not long ago. Left me a little on edge. I froze. A stalker? What happened? She waved it off quickly, trying to force a smile. Let's not get into it. It's a downer. I didn't push. After dinner, I insisted on walking her back. The PSU campus glowed under the lamplight, students laughing and drifting in pairs across the paths. It was the kind of scene that made you forget the world outside existed. At her dorm entrance, she turned to me, her eyes softer now. Thanks for dinner. And thanks for understanding. I scratched my head, grinning awkwardly. I should be thanking you for not permanently branding me as the creep on the train. Her smile curved like a crescent moon.
Well.
See you around.
Yeah.
See you, I echoed, watching her disappear inside. I walked back, through campus humming to myself, lighter than air. The slap, the accusations, the chaos, it all felt like a lifetime ago. For the first time in a long time, I felt good.
But that good mood didn't last.
Because the very next morning, my phone buzzed with a call from an unknown number. And that is where everything changed again. Ethan Hayes? The voice on the other end was clipped, official. This is the Portland Police Department. We'd like you to come down to the station to assist with an investigation. My heart stopped. Investigation? What kind of investigation? It's regarding a stalking and harassment case filed by Miss Chloe Miller. We've apprehended a suspect, and he claims to know you. For a second, the world tilted. Chloe? Stalking? Someone claiming to know me? None of it made sense. But before my mind could even catch up, my body was already moving. I called in sick to work, grabbed the first Uber I could find, and headed straight to the station. They put me in a gray interrogation room. And that's where I saw him, the so-called suspect. A small, wiry man I had never laid eyes on before in my life. The officers explained it plainly. He'd been stalking Chloe for months. His phone was a nightmare. Hundreds of photos, creepy videos, all of her. My skin crawled. But then came the gut punch. Tucked between those images were fresh shots of Chloe and me. At dinner. Walking across campus. Even a shaky video of us side by side. "We suspect you may be connected to him," the officer said.
Connected?
My voice shook as I fired back. "Officer, I just got to Portland 2 days ago. I don't know this man. I've never seen him before." After hours of questioning, after combing through every detail, they finally believed me. It was chance, they said. I just happened to be caught in his twisted lens. Stepping out of that station, I felt the relief wash over me, but it wasn't clean. A shadow of unease clung to me. Did Chloe know? Did she think I was involved? That's when my phone rang. Her name lit up the screen. Her voice was shaky, soaked with tears. "Ethan, the police said I was being stalked. And they said you might be involved. Is that true?" Panic surged through me.
No.
"Chloe, listen, it's a total misunderstanding. I just left the station. I explained everything."
I don't know that guy.
"I swear." Silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. Then finally, softly, "Can I see you?" We met at a quiet campus coffee shop. She sat there with red, puffy eyes, her hands wrapped tight around a cup she hadn't touched. I laid everything out, every detail, ending with the words that burned in my chest. "I have nothing to do with him. You have to believe me." She nodded. "I do. The police already told me. I'm sorry, I doubted you again." Relief rushed through me. "It's okay. It's good to be cautious." But then her guard cracked. She bit her lip, her voice trembling. "That stalker, he's been harassing me for a month. Threatening messages, following me, sneaking into my classes. I've been so scared, Ethan." And in that moment, something shifted. The tough, fiery girl who once slapped me silly, she wasn't untouchable. She was fragile, human, and I felt an ache, a pull, a fierce need to protect her. "Maybe you shouldn't be alone for a while," I said gently. "Ask a friend to walk with you." She gave a bitter smile. "Everyone's busy. I can't keep bothering people." I hesitated. Then, gathering my courage, I said it. "Well, if you don't mind, I'm in town for a few more days. You can call me anytime. I'll be your bodyguard." Her eyes widened. "Really? Wouldn't that be too much trouble?" I puffed out my chest, trying to lighten the mood. This business trip's been boring anyway. I could use the adventure. Finally, she smiled, small, but real. "Okay, but on one condition. No more creepy staring." I raised my hand in mock solemnity. "If my eyes wander, you can call me a dog." And just like that, I became Chloe Miller's self-appointed bodyguard. For the next few days, whenever I wasn't working, I was with her.
Dinner.
Study sessions. Wandering the campus under street lamps. My colleague Mark teased me endlessly. "You're practically a PSU student now, Ethan." I brushed him off, but inside, I was glowing. Because Chloe wasn't just fun. She was magnetic. A brilliant artist, a foodie who knew every hidden gem in Portland, and a girl who made time itself move faster. Before I knew it, the trip was ending. On my last day, Chloe told me she wanted to take me somewhere special. She led me up the winding trail to Pittock Mansion. The city sprawled out below. As the sun sank low, the whole skyline bathed in gold. "This is my favorite spot," she whispered. "Whenever I'm in a bad mood, I come here to watch the sunset." The light traced the edge of her face, painting her in fire and gold. My heart stumbled. "Chloe," I said softly, "I have to go back to Seattle tomorrow." She nodded, her expression dimming. "I know." I swallowed hard, summoning courage I didn't know I had. "But I don't want this to be the end. Can we keep in touch? Not just as regular friends." She turned to me, her big eyes locking into mine. "Are you asking me out?" My face went hot. "I guess I am." I know it hasn't been long, but I like you. Not just because you're beautiful, but because of you. The girl who slaps strangers, who sketches the world, who chases sunsets and hunts down good food. She let out a laugh, then narrowed her eyes playfully. First, you have to bark 3 times. I blinked.
What? Why?
Because someone swore if he stared at me creepily again, he'd be a dog. And let's face it, you've been doing a lot of staring lately. Her grin was wicked, teasing. I was speechless. She'd been holding this card the whole time. But for a shot at happiness, for her, I'd do anything. Woof.
Woof.
Woof. My face burned. She doubled over, laughing so hard tears streamed down her cheeks. When she finally caught her breath, she looked at me, eyes shining, and said, "All right." When Chloe finally said the words, "Since you're so sincere, I'll go out with you," I froze. For a heartbeat, I wasn't sure I'd heard her right. Then it hit me. She'd said yes. I actually jumped to my feet like a fool. "Really?" She nodded, a blush creeping up her cheeks. "Actually, I like you too. Even though you started out as a complete creep, you've proven you're reliable." My brain stopped working. All I could do was grin like an idiot, my heart thundering in my chest. On the walk back down the hill, I worked up the courage to reach for her hand. She didn't pull away. The setting sun stretched our shadows across the path, twisting them together, and in that moment, I swear, I felt like the luckiest man alive, slap in the face and all. Back in Seattle, we became official. Long distance. My mornings started with a good morning text. My nights ended with a FaceTime call. My coworkers teased me, saying I'd turned into a servant of my phone. They weren't wrong. But isn't that what happens when you're in too deep, when you're crazy about someone? Still, the distance was harder than I'd imagined. When Chloe came down with the flu, I felt useless, watching her suffer through a screen. Her cheeks were flushed, her voice raspy. "Ethan, I feel awful," she whispered. My chest tightened. "Did you take medicine? Drink water." The words felt empty, like throwing pebbles at a tidal wave. That night, after we hung up, I couldn't take it anymore. I got in my car and drove through the night. By 3 a.m., I was in Portland. I grabbed medicine from an all-night pharmacy, soup from a diner, and parked outside her dorm. When I called, she answered groggily. "Hello." "Come downstairs," I whispered. "You've got a delivery." She shuffled out in pajamas, hair messy, nose red. When her eyes landed on me, standing there with a bag of soup, she froze. What are you doing here?" I lifted the bag. "Your personal soup delivery service." Her eyes welled instantly. She threw herself into my arms. "You idiot. You drove all this way?" I smoothed her hair, whispering into the crown of her head. Couldn't be helped. My girlfriend needed me. I took her to the campus clinic, stayed until her fever broke, and only then drove back to Seattle. Exhausted, yes. But seeing her smile again, it was worth everything. And after that night, something between us felt stronger. But love, as I learned, doesn't stop testing you. Chloe's life as an art student was demanding: sketch trips, exhibitions, endless projects. And though the police had taken care of her stalker, the occasional hateful message still found its way online. I worried constantly, but from miles away, worry was all I had. Then one night on video chat, I saw it, something heavy in her eyes. "What's wrong?" I asked. She hesitated, then said, "The department's offering an exchange program in France for a year. My professor recommended me." My face lit up. "That's incredible. Why do you look upset?" She bit her lip. "It's for a whole year. And it's not cheap. Chloe, it's a once-in-a-lifetime chance. You have to go. Don't worry about the money. I'll help." She shook her head fiercely.
"No way."
"We've only been together a few months. I can't take your money." "Why not?" I pushed. "I'm your boyfriend. Isn't supporting you part of the deal?" We went back and forth until she reluctantly agreed just to apply. But after the call, I sat down with my finances. 3 years of savings. Money I'd set aside for a condo. Suddenly, none of it mattered. If Chloe needed it, I'd give it all. 2 weeks later, she called. She'd been accepted. But she still needed to pass a French exam. I was over the moon and immediately sent her money for lessons. Find a tutor, I told her. Silence. A long silence. Then her voice, soft but steady. Ethan, I can't take your money. Think of it as a loan, I argued. Pay me back later. She sighed. It's not just the money. Long distance is already hard. What if it becomes international? What if we don't survive it? My stomach dropped. What are you saying? I'm saying, maybe we should step back. Maybe we need to think about whether this relationship can survive something like that. The words cut deep. And for the first time, I raised my voice at her. Chloe, you're really going to give up because of difficulty? Didn't we say we'd face everything together? The fight was messy, loud, and unresolved. We hung up angry. And for days, the silence between us was deafening. I tried to mask it at work, but Mark noticed. What's up with you? He asked. I told him the short version, ending with a bitter laugh. I think I'm about to get dumped. Mark just clapped my shoulder. Man, you don't get it.
She's not doubting you.
She's afraid of holding you back. I frowned. What do you mean? She's worried you'll give up too much for her. That you'll regret it someday. This isn't the time to pull away. It's the time to prove she's worth waiting for. And in that moment, something clicked. His words hit me like a light switch flicking on. That night, something shifted inside me. Mark's words replayed over and over, and it was like a light bulb flicking on in the dark. I couldn't waste another second. I called Chloe. Her face popped up on the screen, and my chest tightened. She looked just as wrecked as I felt, eyes puffy, hair messy, the exhaustion written all over her. Before she could even speak, I blurted it out. Chloe, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled. She shook her head instantly, voice soft and guilty. No, I was the one who messed up. I shouldn't have talked about giving up so easily. I leaned in toward the camera, every word heavy and raw. Listen to me. I don't want you to throw away your dream because you're worried about me. If you did that, I'd never forgive myself. Her eyes shimmered, red and wet. But Ethan, a year is so long. And the money. We'll figure it out together. I cut in. You can apply for loans, I'll cover what I can. And the time? A year will fly by. I'll visit. You'll come home for breaks. We'll FaceTime every single day if we have to. She bit her lip, fighting back tears. Are you really willing to wait for me? I nodded, steady this time. Not just willing. I will wait for you. But you have to promise me you'll go. Don't give this up. That was it. She cracked, crying and laughing at once, her face a mess of relief and love. God, Ethan, you're such an idiot. I smiled, heart aching in the best way. I'm your idiot. And just like that, the storm broke. We were stronger than before. The next few months became a blur of late-night study sessions, French vocabulary I couldn't pronounce, and me learning how to cook her favorite dishes just so she wouldn't miss home too much when she finally left. The night before her flight, we FaceTimed until we both could barely keep our eyes open. She cried again, whispering, I'm going to miss you so much. I forced a smile, pretending to be calm. It's okay. A year will fly by. Send me postcards, yeah? I heard the ones from France are beautiful. She nodded, then wiped her cheeks quickly. By the way, I have a gift for you. The next day at the airport, she pressed a sketchbook into my hands. Her eyes were red, her voice shaky. Don't open it until I'm gone. I hugged her one last time. Safe flight. Call me when you land. Watching her disappear through security left me hollow. Driving home, the silence in my car was unbearable. I finally opened the sketchbook. Page after page, it was us. The train. Our first dinner. The sunset at Pittock Mansion. That night I showed up with soup at 3 a.m. Every drawing carried a little caption, a piece of her heart spilled in ink. The last page stopped me cold. It was us at the airport, frozen in goodbye. Underneath, in her neat handwriting, even if we're thousands of miles apart, my heart is always with you. Wait for me to come back. Love, Chloe. My eyes burned. That crybaby had officially turned me into one too. But distance doesn't play fair. France was 9 hours ahead. She was waking up as I was dragging myself to bed. When I was grinding at work, she was in the middle of classes. Still, we kept our promise. Video calls every day, even if it was just a few stolen minutes. I kept that sketchbook on my nightstand. Every night before sleep, I flipped through it, clinging to the proof of what we had. My friends joked I was waiting for my Penelope. I didn't care. For Chloe, waiting was worth it. But 3 months in, life hit me like a freight train. My company announced massive layoffs. Overnight, my entire department vanished. Just like that, I was unemployed. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. I'd poured most of my savings into helping Chloe. The mortgage loomed like a shadow I couldn't escape. I told no one, especially not her. Instead, I put on the mask, pretended to go to work, pretended everything was fine. By day, I hunted for jobs, sending resumes into the void. By night, I tried to smile into the camera, acting like nothing was wrong. One evening, her call came through as usual. I answered, forcing a cheerful tone. Hey, how was your day? She looked tired, but her eyes were glowing. It was good. I went to the Louvre to sketch. It was incredible. What about you? I lied without blinking. Same old. Work, home. Nothing special. My gut twisted. She studied me, her brow furrowed. Ethan, are you hiding something from me? You've been different. I laughed it off, shaking my head.
No. Just tired.
That's all. She didn't look convinced. But then, her face softened. Well, I have good news. I got a scholarship. It covers most of my tuition and living expenses. Relief washed over me. That's amazing. But then she hesitated. So the money you lent me, I can start paying you back. My heart dropped. If she wired me anything, she'd see it.
She'd know.
And I couldn't let her know, not like this. No rush, I said quickly, too quickly.
Keep it.
I don't need it. Her frown deepened. Ethan, are you sure you're okay? You're acting really weird. And right then, salvation or disaster rang my doorbell. Hang on, someone's here, I said, grateful for the interruption. It was Mark, my old colleague. He grinned wide. Ethan, great news. There's a company that's really interested. Interview tomorrow. I tried to hush him, wave him down, but it was too late. From the other room, Chloe's voice came sharp through my phone speaker. Ethan, who was that? What interview? Defeated, I walked back to the screen. Her face was confused. Hurt. I sighed, the mask crumbling. Chloe, there's something I didn't tell you.
I lost my job.
The company had layoffs a month ago. Her eyes widened, shock cutting through the screen.
What?
Ethan, why didn't you tell me sooner? When the truth finally came out, I had no choice but to lay everything bare. Chloe sat in silence for what felt like forever, her face unreadable. Then she finally spoke, her voice trembling. So, you've been pretending to go to work this whole time? Why didn't you just tell me? I swallowed hard. Because I didn't want you to worry. You're so far away, Chloe. Knowing wouldn't have changed anything. Her eyes turned red, brimming with hurt. Ethan, I'm your girlfriend, not some stranger. We're supposed to face things together, aren't we? Just like you stood by me. I want to stand by you. Her words hit me like a wave, guilt mixing with warmth. Before I could respond, she said firmly, I'm wiring you that money tomorrow. And don't you dare refuse it. Consider it an investment in our future. I shook my head, desperate. No, that's your scholarship money. You need it. We went back and forth until we reached a fragile truce. She would send a little for emergencies, and I had to promise, no more secrets. If I was in trouble, she had to know. When the call ended, I sat there torn in half, grateful for her love, crushed by the weight of my own failures. The next day, I walked into the interview Mark had arranged. It went better than expected, they liked me. But when the salary came up, my heart sank.
It was far less than what I used to make.
That night, I confessed to Chloe. The job's solid, the pay not so much. She didn't even hesitate. But do you like the work? Is there room to grow? I thought about it, really thought about it. Yeah, it's the kind of work I love. Small company, lots of potential. Then take it, she said without missing a beat. Money can come later. Do what makes you happy. Her conviction cut through my doubts. She was right. I accepted the job, and for the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of hope. She kept her word too, sending me just enough to help me get back on my feet. Quietly, I swore I'd pay her back double one day. But life wasn't about to make it easy. Even with her scholarship, Chloe's cost of living in France was heavier than she expected. She picked up a part-time job, juggling long hours and brutal coursework. Slowly, I watched the exhaustion eat at her. She brushed it off until the day she collapsed at work. When her manager called me, my heart nearly stopped. Thankfully, it was only exhaustion. But seeing her pale face in a hospital bed over video shattered me. You have to cut back, I told her firmly. I'll handle the money. She shook her head stubbornly. You're already under so much pressure. I can't. Chloe Miller. It was the first time I'd ever said her full name. My voice was sharp, unshakable. If you keep pushing yourself like this, I will get on a plane, drag you home, and chain you to your bed until you rest. I'm not kidding. She blinked, startled by the fire in me. But. No buts, I snapped. I already picked up a freelance gig. My income's going up. Your only job now is to take care of yourself and finish your program. Understood. Truth was, I hadn't found the gig yet. But I'd already made up my mind. If it meant keeping her safe, I'd work myself into the ground. Her eyes welled. I'm sorry I made you worry. My voice softened. Silly girl. We're a team. Your problems are mine, mine are yours. Always. That scare changed us. From then on, we swore no more secrets. Honest about everything, good or bad. So I worked 2 jobs, grinding day and night, while she poured herself into her art. Slowly, she regained her energy. She excelled in her classes, even got a chance to showcase her work in a gallery. Life was far from easy, but we were holding each other up, step by step.
Before we knew it, 6 months had flown by.
We were already counting down the days until her return. But the real test, the one I never saw coming, was waiting in her 9th month abroad. Our rhythm cracked. Chloe grew busier, harder to reach. Missed calls turned into excuses. Video chats grew shorter, her eyes always drifting, her voice tired. The distance between us suddenly felt real. One Friday night, I noticed her background wasn't her dorm. It was a dimly lit, elegant restaurant. Who are you with? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She smiled. Just classmates. We're celebrating finishing a big project. And then he appeared. A blonde guy, sliding into frame, his arm draped casually over her shoulders. He said something in French, making her laugh as she brushed him off. My stomach twisted. Who's that? Oh, that's Pierre. He's in my project group. Just a goofball. She dismissed it lightly, but the noise of chatter and clinking glasses in the background told me everything. She was surrounded, wrapped in a world I couldn't touch. I forced a smile. Well, you should get back to your friends. We'll talk tomorrow. Her expression flickered with guilt. I'm sorry. Tomorrow, I promise. But tomorrow came, and she never showed. I waited. Hours ticked by. Nothing. It wasn't until dawn that a text finally arrived. Went sketching in the countryside today. Bad signal. Got back late and crashed. Talk tomorrow. Reading it, a knot tightened in my chest. The excuses piled up week after week. Missed calls. Delayed replies. And what ate at me most? Pictures of her and Pierre started flooding her social media. Smiling. Laughing. Side by side. Mark noticed my mood and told me straight. Ask her. Just ask her what's going on. But deep down, I was terrified of the answer. I kept my doubts bottled up, afraid of sounding controlling. But then one picture shattered me. Chloe, standing under the Eiffel Tower with Pierre, smiling wide. The caption read, "The best view with the best person." My stomach dropped. The best person? Then what was I? I called her instantly, but it went straight to voicemail. Hours later, she finally rang back, casual as ever. "Hey, what's up? Sorry, I was in the studio, didn't see my phone." I couldn't hold it in. "What's going on between you and Pierre?" She froze. "He's just a classmate." "What's wrong?" My voice cracked, frustration slipping through. "Would a classmate be the best person on your Instagram?"
Silence.
Heavy. Then she asked quietly, "Ethan, are you accusing me of something?" "I'm not accusing you. I just need the truth. You've been distant. Always with him. Always blowing me off." Her voice trembled, wounded. "Yes, I've been busy. But I have never betrayed you. Pierre is just a friend. And he has a boyfriend." I blinked, stunned. "What?" "He's gay, Ethan. He's basically my best friend. I can't believe you don't trust me." Her voice cracked, raw with hurt. "I thought you knew me better." A wave of shame washed over me. "Chloe."
I'm sorry.
I didn't know. I was being paranoid. We talked for hours after that. She opened up about the stress she'd been drowning in, deadlines, pressure, exhaustion. Suddenly, everything made sense. We patched things up, but I knew one thing. Once a crack appears in trust, it takes time to heal. That night, I made myself a promise. The enemy of long-distance love isn't miles. It's doubt. And I wasn't going to let it win. I threw myself into new ways to make her feel connected to me. I started learning to bake French pastries, disasters, every single one. I'd show her my sad, lopsided croissants on video calls, and she'd laugh until she cried. But beneath that laughter, she saw the effort, the love. We even made a new rule. No matter how busy life got, we owed each other one long video date every week. No excuses. And for a while it worked. Our love felt steady again, maybe stronger than before. But fate wasn't finished testing us. One evening, my phone lit up with an unknown number. It was Chloe's mother. Her voice was tight with worry. "Ethan, sweetheart, has Chloe seemed off to you lately?" My chest clenched.
Why?
"What's wrong?" "She called me a few days ago and just started sobbing but wouldn't say why. I'm worried something happened." I tried to stay calm, tried to reassure her. "It's probably just stress. I'll talk to her tonight." But deep down, fear gnawed at me. That night, I studied Chloe's face on our call. Her eyes were swollen, like she'd been crying. "How was your day?" I asked softly. She forced a smile. The usual. "Busy." "Chloe," I leaned closer to the screen. "Talk to me. Whatever it is, you can tell me." Her lips trembled. Then the dam broke. Tears streamed down her cheeks.
Ethan.
I might not graduate on time. My heart dropped.
What?
Why? My final project, it was stolen. Her sobs cut through the phone. It disappeared from the studio a week before it was due. I was stunned.
What?
"Did you call the police?" She nodded, defeated. "We did. But the cameras weren't working. No leads. My professor says I'll have to start over 6 more months. Ethan, I'm devastated. I spent half a year on that piece." I clenched my fists, helpless. How could this happen? Her voice cracked. "The worst part? I think it was someone I know. Only a few students even have keys." Immediately, Pierre flashed in my mind. Could it have been? No, not Pierre. She cut me off, already reading my thoughts. He's been helping me search everywhere. Someone vandalized his project too, just not as badly. Guilt stabbed me again for ever doubting him. She shook her head, broken. "I don't know what to do, Ethan. I just feel so lost." In that moment, I made my choice. "Hang on. I'm taking vacation. I'm coming to you." Her eyes widened. "What?"
No.
"Your job is demanding. The flight, it's too expensive." "I'll find a way. Money, jobs, those can wait. Right now, you need me." My voice was steady. "It's decided." The next morning, I put in for leave and booked a ticket with every mile I'd saved. I didn't tell her when. I wanted it to be a surprise. 10 hours in the air, and then
Paris.
My heart raced as I found her apartment, climbed the steps, rang the bell. The door creaked open. Chloe stood frozen, eyes wide, tears spilling before she even spoke. "Ethan," I grinned, arms wide. "Surprise." She flew into my chest, laughing and crying all at once. "You idiot. You actually came." And then another voice. A man's voice, drifting from inside. "Chloe? Who is it?" I looked up. And there he was.
Pierre.
Stepping out of the kitchen in an apron, spatula in hand. The air snapped tight. The room filled with an awkward silence heavy enough to crush us. Chloe's face went pale. Pierre was just cooking for me. I haven't been eating well, and he was worried. But in that moment, all I could think was, what have I just walked into? Pierre flashed a smile, his accent thick but playful. "You must be Ethan.
Chloe talks about you all the time."
"I'm Pierre, and, as you can see, I like men." He winked, almost theatrically. "My boyfriend's coming over for dinner in a bit." And just like that, the knot in my chest unraveled. I exhaled, realizing I'd been holding my breath this whole time. A laugh slipped out, half relief, half embarrassment at my own foolish suspicions. That night, the four of us sat down to dinner. Pierre and his boyfriend were warm, welcoming, the kind of people who filled a room with energy. For the first time in weeks, I felt peace at the table. But after dessert, Pierre pulled me aside. His voice softened. "Chloe is broken over what happened. That project meant everything to her. Help her believe in herself again." I nodded. "I will." From that moment, the next few days blurred into a mission. I walked with Chloe to the university, sat with her in meetings with professors, even spoke to the police. By some miracle, her professor agreed to give her 3 months, half the time she thought she had, to rebuild her graduate project from scratch. A lifeline, yes, but one tangled in impossible pressure. It didn't take long for the weight to crush her. One night, she collapsed in tears. "I can't do it. 3 months isn't enough. I want to give up." I pulled her close. "Don't.
Please.
We'll figure this out, together." That night, sleep never came. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, watching her exhausted body finally rest beside me. And in that silence, I made a choice. A crazy, reckless choice. I would stay. However long it took, I wasn't going back home without her. When I told her the next morning, she was stunned.
"No, Ethan."
"What about your job?" I smiled like it was no big deal. I already cleared it with my boss. I can work remotely and use the rest of my days off. But the truth was I'd quit. I wasn't going to tell her, not when the only thing that mattered was keeping her steady. Chloe just wrapped her arms around me, too moved to say a word. The next 3 months turned into a marathon. I rented a tiny room near her apartment. By day, I picked up freelance jobs online. By night, I was her assistant in the studio, mixing paints, fetching coffee, making sure she ate. I didn't know a thing about art, but I knew how to stand by her. And somehow that was enough. Her new project had a theme, love across distance. Inspired by us, she painted me into it, a clumsy, devoted man who crossed oceans for the woman he loved. Night after night, the canvas grew. Sleepless hours, nervous breakdowns, little victories. And through it all, we held on. Pierre and his boyfriend became our cheerleaders, dropping by with pastries and espresso, lifting our spirits when hope ran thin. Then, 1 week before the deadline, it was done. A massive oil painting. Part realism, part abstraction. 2 people miles apart, tethered by an invisible thread. Even I, the outsider with no eye for art, felt it tug at my chest. When submission day came, her hands shook so badly she couldn't hold the canvas straight. I took them in mine. "Whatever happens, you gave it everything. I'm proud of you." The waiting nearly broke her. Days dragged, nerves frayed. I tried distracting her. Walks through Paris, lazy afternoons in cafes, but her mind never left that painting. And then 5 days later, the call came. Her professor. I watched her face transform in real time, anxiety to disbelief, disbelief to tears, and finally, radiant joy. She dropped the phone, lunged into my arms.
I passed. Ethan, I passed.
He said it might be one of the best projects this year. He's recommending it for the exhibition. We both cried, laughing like kids who'd just beaten the world. That night, we celebrated with Pierre and his boyfriend, raising glasses to a hard-won victory. Chloe stood, her eyes glistening, voice trembling as she looked at me. Thank you. Without you, I would have given up a long time ago. I squeezed her hand. Because you're worth it. Pierre chuckled. You two are disgustingly sweet. So, when's the wedding? Chloe and I just smiled at each other. No words. But in that silence, we both knew. The weeks that followed were like a honeymoon. Paris unfolded for us, the museums, the galleries, the hidden cafes she loved. We walked the Seine at sunset, held hands in Montmartre, living like we'd pressed pause on the real world. But reality was waiting. Her student visa was expiring. My job back home was gone. The night before our flight, surrounded by packed suitcases, Chloe asked quietly, "What's your plan when we get back?" I hesitated, then told her the truth. I quit my job. I needed to be here. She stared at me, eyes wet. Why didn't you say anything? I shrugged, smiling gently. I didn't want you to worry. I'll figure it out. You're worth the risk. She buried her face into my shoulder, whispering through tears, "You idiot." My idiot. And for the first time in months, it felt like the world was ours to face, together. Back in the States, reality hit harder than either of us expected. Jobs were scarce. Rent was tight. Our little apartment was small, but it was ours. The road ahead was uncertain. But as long as we had each other, it felt like enough. Or, at least, that's what I believed back then. I sent out resumes, went to interviews, and came home with nothing but rejection letters. Meanwhile, Chloe picked up bits of freelance illustration work, but the income barely kept us afloat. The pressure mounted, and it started to seep into our relationship. One night, the stress boiled over. We argued over something stupid, and before I could stop myself, I snapped. Can't you just be realistic? You can't eat art. The words cut through the room like glass. Chloe's eyes filled instantly with tears. So, you think my dream is a mistake? Regret hit me before she even finished the sentence. No, I didn't mean that.
I'm sorry.
I'm just stressed. She shook her head, her voice trembling. I know you're stressed.
But so am I.
We're supposed to lift each other up, not tear each other down. That night, we sat for hours, no walls between us, just raw honesty. We laid our fears bare, the money, the pressure, the future. And in the end, we made a promise. No matter how hard it got, we wouldn't let stress poison what we had. A month later, everything changed. Chloe's project was selected for a national art exhibition. Critics praised it, and a gallery offered her a solo show. At the same time, I finally landed my dream job, creative director at a design firm, with a salary better than the one I'd left behind. Just like that, the clouds broke, and light poured back into our lives. We were busy, yes, but we found balance. She threw herself into her art, I dove into my work, and somehow, we still carved out time for each other. Her solo exhibition was a triumph. Collectors bought her pieces, and the art college offered her a teaching position. On the closing night, I planned something special. In our tiny apartment, I set the table, cooked her favorite meal, and brought out dessert. When dinner ended, I handed her a gift wrapped with shaky hands. She opened it slowly, revealing a sketchbook. Inside, page after page of drawings that told our story, from the train ride to Paris and back again. On the final page was a ring, sketched in pencil, with the words, "Will you be my model forever?" Her eyes widened, her breath caught. I dropped to one knee, holding the real ring in my hand. Chloe Miller, our beginning was a disaster, but it was the most beautiful disaster of my life. Will you marry me? She laughed through her tears, nodding. Of course I will, you idiotic creep. The moment was perfect until the doorbell rang. We opened it to find a crowd. Pierre, his boyfriend, Chloe's friends flown in from France, and both our parents grinning ear to ear. She stood frozen, stunned. I just smiled. Surprise. Engagement party. That night, our cramped little apartment overflowed with laughter, love, and the smell of champagne. Her parents took my hand. Ethan, your beginning may have been unconventional, but we see how deeply you love her. We're entrusting Chloe to you. I promised them what I already knew in my heart. I'll spend the rest of my life taking care of her. 6 months later, we had a small, intimate wedding. Pierre stood proudly as maid of honor. During my vows, I told the truth. Some couples fall in love at first sight. We fell in love at first strike. The room erupted in laughter. Chloe rolled her eyes, then smiled through her tears. It may have started with a misunderstanding, but I'm grateful for it, because it led me to this idiot who crossed an ocean for me. For our honeymoon, we returned to France, retracing every step of our story. This time, we weren't two lost souls finding their way. We were husband and wife, taking wedding photos in front of the Eiffel Tower. A year has passed since then. Chloe's building her name as an artist and teaching at the college. I'm still at the design firm, though I work fewer late nights now. We bought our little apartment, made it a home. On weekends, I watch her paint. She teases me about my terrible cooking, then secretly finishes every plate. Life isn't perfect, but it's ours, and we face it hand in hand. Sometimes, in the quiet, I tease her. Hey, honey, remember that slap on the train? Without looking up from her canvas, she smirks.
What?
You want a rematch? I wrap my arms around her, laughing.
No.
I just wanted to say it was the best slap I ever got. She punches my arm, playfully. You're ridiculous. Hold still. I want to paint that look on your face. Sunlight spills through the window, warm and golden. And in that moment, I realize the best stories don't start perfectly. They start messy, chaotic, unexpected. And sometimes, the craziest beginnings make for the most beautiful endings.